Let's shift back to politics real quick. Nikole Hannah-Jones, who is the founder or one of the lead journalists of the 1619 Project, wanted to break down critical race theory and the Republican or conservative strategy against it. Let's take a listen to that clip real quick.
Do you want to see something kind of wild? This is a graphic we created showing coverage on Fox News of CRT before the elections in Virginia and after. You're going to see, of course, 160 or so mentions in the week before the election, and then just about 30 mentions this week. So clearly, there was an attempt right before the off-year elections to stoke concern about race and how it's being taught in schools. And now, much less talk in recent days because there's no election happening. What I wonder, though, is, Nikole, do you feel like you're part of this political drama where you've got Democrats running around worrying that there's too much talk about wokeness and they're going to have to change that for the midterms? Do you feel like you're partly responsible or partly part of that story?
Well, let me say I appreciate you showing that graphic, because what I and many others have been saying is this always was a propaganda campaign. It was designed to, this anti-critical race theory was designed to stoke white resentment. It was designed to kind of put progressives back on their heels and to defend something that wasn't happening. And it was designed to drive white suburban people to the polls for Republicans. And in some degrees, it's been successful. Do I feel responsible for that? Absolutely not. A project that is seeking journalistically to force us to grapple with our history cannot be responsible for bad faith actors deciding that they are going to try to whip up white resentment. In fact, if you read the 1619 Project, you know that race has been the oldest wedge issue in America, and it still works.
That's right. That's right. That's right. That's right. And it's wild. I'm listening to her. They're trying to blame. They're trying to say because she was one of the lead journalists and the lead thought creators of the 1619 Project, that the subsequent response from these white supremacists, which has been, oh, my God, critical race theory is an abomination. That's the response. They're trying to say that this sister is responsible for it, but for the white supremacist response. And I love how she said it. She said, no, we're not responsible for the adverse reaction from these, she didn't say barbarians, but I'm going to say barbarians. They're going to do it anyway. They're going to react negatively anyway. They're going to lie. That's what gaslighters do. Gaslighters gaslight. And that's what conservatives, that's what they're doing all over this country, man. Excuse me. JP from Michigan. I think I know. Thank you. I think I know who this is. JP, what's going on, my brother?
So here's what I would say. And this is this. So here's the cue on where we are right now, right? So I expect those who don't agree with wrestling with the issue of racism to find ways to do this. And to be honest with you, the Republicans are just way better at messaging than the Democrats are. They do a great job, and they fall in line when the word comes out. They fall in line. The issue that I have sometimes is that our supposedly Democratic colleagues find a way to try to just do enough, but never push back forcefully enough to try to change the narrative. They're more or less saying, okay, well, this is messing up what the rest of our agenda is, which I don't know what their agenda is for black people anyway. I really want to go back to this whole idea of voting. I'm really concerned that are we being bamboozled by the idea that if we don't vote, nothing changes? Because even when we do vote, nothing seems to change. There's always a reason or a rationale why we always end up in the same spot. You and I both know we've had plenty of conversations on why I struggle to not vote for Joe Biden. And it literally has, I'm not afraid of what could happen. Because at the end of the day, it's already happening regardless of how I vote. These folks do what's best for them. And that's where my struggle comes in at. As far as this idea of CRT, of course. Well, there's some issues with the 1619 Project, possibly. But at the end of the day, the goal is how do we have a critical conversation about race that people won't get offended and that we stay at the table enough to deal with it. Because, some of y'all youngsters, y'all love to cancel people. They don't answer the way y'all want to, they go. and they just see poof, move.
Right. Poof, just go.
And
just all of a
so,
sudden.
but my thing is, how do we ever get to change without it? I'll listen now to hear what you got to say before I hang up. It's just good being on the line with you again, my brother.
Hey, brother, it's always good to hear from you, man. What's refreshing, James, is to recall how smart my audience always has been. Like, high key, I learned a lot from my audience. Like, you know, I might consider myself to be one of the smartest people in the game, but it's because I had a chance for years to listen to the audience, get feedback, and talk like this. And what I hear Brother JP saying from Michigan, he's saying you can't scare us with the possibility of another Trump when you haven't improved the situations since you got power from Trump the first time.
Right.
It's not going to work in 2022 or 2024.